What's up, y'all? My name is Holly. Welcome to Traumedy Hour. Another trigger warning. I'm talking about abusive men and fucked up people and personal experiences with psychological, emotional, different types of abuse, assault. Just be warned. I'm back on the tails of my last episode about men and abuse and toxic culture and cancel culture and all those things. I still have some thoughts to add to the conversation. I'm going to try to record this without being interrupted by my pets. My pets are both in the room with me, and my dog is trying to chew on his bone, so you might hear some of that. I love my pets, and my dog is cute as fuck, and I'm not going to stop him from chewing on his bone because he's not doing anything wrong. But you know who is doing something wrong? There's a lot of men out there in the world. And they should be punished, not my precious beloved dog. So my last episode, which I titled Go Be a Changed Man Somewhere Else, and I was kind of pondering and critiquing some of the toxicity in our culture that gives men permission to do a bunch of fucked up stuff and behave badly. And it oftentimes puts the burden of responsibility on the women to be the ones with boundaries and enforce consequences, which I disagree with that. I definitely disagree with that. I wish I had someone here to like have this conversation with, because this feels like a good topic to discuss with someone else in an open forum, but I am a loser and I don't have anyone to invite on this podcast. But I don't have anyone in the general area that's like available right now to come. I don't have enough gear for two people, so I'm just going to have to do this conversation by myself. I'm still thinking about it, and I'm still thinking about my personal experiences, and I think it's important to understand where people come from, like what their history is, what their upbringing is. It shapes us and how we navigate the world. So I have absolutely been shaped by the things I experienced and the family that I came from. And I would argue that we all are. We are all shaped and formed by the relationships and the environments that we're raised in. And a lot of it happens when our brain is very underdeveloped. We're really, really young. We don't have any control or choice in the matter. And a lot of the formation of our beliefs and our really deeply rooted understandings of the world and of relationships happen before we're even conscious and able to understand and comprehend what's going on. So I don't that sounds like I'm not a fucking neurologist or a psychologist or a biologist. I just believe that based on my research and my experience. I believe that we're all shaped by those things, and it's biology. I believe in the science of the brain and the body. I think the body and the brain are almost more intelligent than our conscious mind. I think that our brain protects us from certain memories, and there is repression in a lot of us. I think our body stores a lot of trauma and memory, and maybe it's not part of our conscious mind. So those are some things that I believe that you should know about, because that's affecting the stance that I'm taking on these things. So I believe that about men in our culture as well. And I will also say that I think there are men in other cultures that are way more toxic and have way more abusive behaviors than American men, but I can only speak to the experiences that I've personally had. and things that I personally know about. I cannot speak to things that I've never been through or don't know shit about. That's not my vibe. I'm going to stay in my lane as much as I know how to. So my experiences have all been with hetero cisgendered men. I have dated outside my race. I've had experiences with multiple different ethnicities and lifestyles and generational and like just different upbringings. Like I've dated men from different upbringings and different cultures is the word I'm looking for. Different culture, different family dynamics. So it hasn't just been like all straight white men. I have dated a little bit here and there. I also believe that the trauma we experience in our lives can shape, like, I don't know how to say this. I was literally on a hike this morning trying to figure out how to formulate this thought. So in my mind, I imagine when we are in utero, we're in development, we're being formed, all of our capacities are coming together in our mother's womb. That's when these imprints start to happen, in my opinion. I think that the mother's hormones and the adrenaline and the cortisol, whatever's happening in the mother's body, is affecting the development of the fetus that, let's say, is me. So whatever my mother is going through when she's pregnant with me is affecting my development, because those hormones and those chemicals and anything going on in her body is also happening to my body because I'm an infant inside of her. And then when I'm born, that environment that I'm born into, immediately I'm just poured into a mold that is my family, that is my parents, and whatever the fuck is going on in that moment. So I was born December 1987, and I'm a clean slate somewhat. I've been affected by my mother's womb, and whatever trauma and stress that she's been going through has affected my development. And then I'm born and I'm poured into this mold that is like half of my mom and half of my dad. And I am going to start to become whoever they shape me to be. And if my parents are not emotionally mature, are not equipped to raise a child, if they don't understand child development and psychology, if they don't even understand themselves, that's all going into my recipe. I'm a recipe and all that's going into it. And this mold that I am being poured into is whatever the fuck my parents are. That's gonna set the foundation. And when I get much older and I have my own free thought and free will, then things might look a little different if I pursue something different. Now, parents who are not ready or able or equipped or mature or whatever, that is going to affect this new life. I don't really know how to say that other than as a fact, because it's just a fucking fact. It's a scientific, biological fact that our parents shape who we are and who we become in a lot of ways. Sometimes we have to break away from it, but sometimes people just stay with whoever their parents raised them to be. I have had to work very hard to break away from what my parents were and who they wanted to shape me into being, because it's not who I want to be. I don't want to be the person my parents want me to be. Once I reached a point of my own free thought and will, I realized this is not for me. I need to get the fuck out of here. It felt like prison. I have to use myself as an example because it's not appropriate for me to tell other people's stories and use them as an example. So I'm going to talk about myself. I'm shaped by my parents who were, in retrospect, my parents did not have a healthy relationship. They were not healthy individuals. They were very dysfunctional emotionally and psychologically. And my father is a. It was just dysfunctional. The environment, the emotional and psychological environment that I was born into. My parents had terrible communication. They had a terrible relationship. They had a lot of repressed trauma. There was a lot of baggage that was not being like fucking discussed or brought into the light, and that came from generations before them. I could say the same thing about my grandparents on both sides. Like, a lot of trauma, a lot of it lying, a lot of cheating, a lot of addiction, a lot of abuse, and people just, they just stayed. They just accepted it. My great grandmother had no choice but to just stay and let my great grandfather beat her on a regular basis. And then their children are traumatized by that. And then those children had my father. So it's just like generation after generation of traumatized people. I don't really know what my great grandparents were like on my mother's side, but my grandparents, I really have a hard time with the phrase, they did the best they could. That is very difficult for me because I don't think that our best, what we quote unquote are saying is our best, I do not find it acceptable. To say that I did my best and I stayed in an abusive relationship and let my spouse beat me in front of our children, I don't know. I have a really hard time with that, like being the best that we can do. To me, it's unacceptable. There's a lot of things that are going on in that type of scenario, but we have to stop these things because that's not the best we can do. It's just not. It's what we are accepting as the best. And I can see generation before generation before generation before me that there was a lot of that. Well, it's the best we could do. My grandparents did the best that they could with their kids, and in my opinion, it's dysfunctional and it shows. And I don't know, maybe my family will come for me. Most of them don't listen to this podcast, but I have the right to like share my experience and how this impacted me. So I'm not slandering anyone, and my family doesn't even have money for a lawsuit anyways. So the perks of being fucking poor. I'm not saying anything that's false. I have no reason to. I don't gain anything from that. I'm reflecting on what I can now see as a lot of dysfunction and trauma and abuse perpetuating in cycles throughout my family for generations. And then my parents have me. I came 14 months after my older brother. So my older brother was 6 months old and my mom got pregnant with me. So the whole time that I was in utero being developed, my mom's chasing a 6-month, like literally raising a fucking infant. This bothers me because I can feel as an adult the effects of that. This overarching feeling of disconnection, of not being the priority in any moment because I wasn't. I was an unexpected pregnancy when my mom already had a 6-month-old. And then she had me when my brother was 14 months old. So now she has 2 fucking babies under the age of 14 months. And if you think I got undivided attention, I don't think I did. And then when I was 2, my mom had another kid. And then when I was 4, she had another kid. And when I was 6, she had another kid. And when I was 8, she had another kid. And when I was 10, she had another kid. And when I was 12, she had another kid. And when I was 14, she had another kid. That's a lot of kids. I love my mom and I want to give her credit for doing the best she could with what she had. I understand that that's the credit that's due. But no one has enough time and energy to really nurture and pour into and develop well-rounded humans when you have 8 of them to take care of. And I love my siblings more than I love life itself. I don't, I'm trying to hold 2 complicated opinions at once. I love my family and I wouldn't change it. I love my siblings and I would not ever change the structure that we have. However, I can also hold the truth that it was very difficult for me and has created a lot of trauma in my life, the way that I was raised and how my parents chose to parent us. It was not a good experience for me. Even though I love my mom and I love my siblings, I have both of those truths in me at the same time. I'm also very wounded and frustrated, and I have anger to deal with about it. So all of that stuff is about me, but I think we should also try to look at every person that we interact with as a whole person who's also coming from a family unit, from generations of patterns and behaviors and beliefs that have been instilled into them. That's what I'm getting at with all of this history, is we need to really look at people like that. I try to look at people like that. Sometimes I can't because I'm a fucking raging asshole and I just am like, get the fuck out of my way. You're not a person to me. Sometimes I get to that place. Not all the time, but I try my best when I'm dealing with people, especially complicated people or really immature people. I've had to deal with a lot of people in my careers and just in the way that I live my life. I've had to deal with a lot of people. And sometimes people are fucking dicks, dude. There are definitely assholes out there, for sure. No doubt about it. And when I'm dealing with really difficult people like that, I try really hard to humanize them by remembering, like, this person has their own trauma. They have their own habits. Their parents set them up with some terrible tools for life. And this is the best they can do right now. How can I have appropriate boundaries with this person in this moment, considering all of that? So that's kind of like what I try to do. Even though I say it's not my fucking responsibility to teach anyone how to live like an adult, which is true. I am not responsible for anyone's life other than my own. However, I do have to deal with other people, and I need to learn how to interact with them in a way that is safe for both of us. So when I'm thinking about or dealing with difficult men, badly behaved men, toxic men, I do try to see the bigger picture, but I also try to hold another complicated duo of thoughts like, okay, I can see the bigger picture of like your upbringing and how you think this is acceptable. However, it's not acceptable, and I will not allow you to talk to me like that. You don't get to do that to me. So how can we do, like, I guess what I want to explore, since I said in the last episode, like, go be a changed man somewhere else, like, fuck out of here, cancel culture is toxic, but I want to cancel people, and how do we find a middle ground? And I guess the complication is how can we be empathetic for people and where they came from, while also holding them accountable for like right and wrong. I think it's wrong to put your hands on someone without their permission. Period. Hard stop. No matter what the situation is, whether it's sexual or not, I don't believe in putting your fucking physical body in contact with someone else's physical body without some type of conversation and consent. I don't think it's okay. And I would say the same for even like children being forced. I remember being forced to like hug and kiss adults that I didn't even know, because like from a very young age I was taught, you do what we're asking you to do. You go hug Uncle what's his face and kiss him on the cheek. And I'm like, I don't know this person. I'm 5 years old. I don't want to hug this grown ass man with a beard. I'm scared, mommy. Go hug your uncle. Or whatever it was. It wasn't an actual uncle. It was just someone in our family who was a longtime friend and whatever. I have vivid memories of that from a very young age, being told to deny my instincts and my natural boundaries and just do what you're being asked to do. Shut your mouth, go hug Uncle What's-His-Face, and go sit down at the table. It wasn't said like that, but the message was received in that way. So a lifetime of that, like a lifetime of me being told your boundaries and your instincts don't matter, be quiet, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, you're just a child, you've never experienced anything. How could you possibly know? God doesn't speak to you, he speaks to me. Whatever the fucking excuse is, I've heard it all. Holly, you're just a little girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Period. That was basically the general consensus of a lot of the adults that I dealt with, men in particular. A lot of men did that to me. So now I am a product of this environment. I am a product of 25 plus years of being told directly, indirectly, by strangers, by acquaintances, by people I respect who have been leaders in my life. Many people have conveyed the message that I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a little girl. And that now enrages me. And it makes me feel very passionate about giving women voices and space and safety and friendship, because I think it's very common for women to be silenced and for men to be like, boys will be boys, like they're just going to be toxic and they're going to be fucked up. And I even remember when my fiance who cheated on me, as I shared in episode 2, I think, you know, that relationship was really, it was a long, very deep, very intense relationship. He cheated on me, and I remember trying to talk to people. I talked to his parents. I went to their house and told them and wept on their couch. And I was asking people, like, we need to do something. Like, he needs to be held accountable for this. I didn't know how to use the right language because I was literally a teenager or whatever. And I wasn't mature at the time. I was reaching out, like telling people, I'm devastated. This really fucking ruined me. How could he do this to me? What am I supposed to do? Like, how do we get past this? I wanted justice and repair, and I wanted truth. I wanted the reality and the truth to be in the light, and I wanted it to be dealt with so that we could all move on. And I was denied that in that situation. No one could deal with it. It was kind of a like, boys will be boys, you know, he has never been with anyone but you. Like, you know, he just got cold feet and wanted to try something else, and I wouldn't take it too seriously. Like, basically encouraging me to sweep it under the rug and move on with the wedding. And I just couldn't do that. No one was saying that directly. I honestly, genuinely think people were shocked and did not know what to do. They didn't know what to do with that. And a lot of the people in our circles were very hyper-religious people that lived in denial. And those people couldn't deal with their own truths. They were alcoholics and crackheads, and they're beating their wives and their kids. And those people are lying and hiding too. So they couldn't deal with my fiance's lying and our drama. They didn't know how to fucking face it because they couldn't even face themselves. So I don't know. I just like it. That is indicative of how every fucking situation has gone for me, where it's like, it's not that serious. Like, this is too much to handle. Like, the only place I've ever found like a listening ear to help me process through all of this is therapy. Never found it in the church, never found it in the family unit, never found it in, I mean, I definitely have it in my friendships. I have very, very deep, intimate, open, honest, vulnerable friendships. Thank fucking God, because I don't know what I would do. I just don't operate very well in the shadows. I feel like a lot of people like to live in the shadows. They like to hide from reality and from the truth and from their fucked upness and from what a shit show the world is, because it's more comfortable. Ignorance is bliss. If you can stay in the shadows, you don't have to deal with the sunlight and you can just live your bullshit life. But that doesn't work for me. I can't do it. There's something wrong with me too. And it's that I like have a very overwhelming sense of what's true and what's right. And I am drawn to the light. I am drawn to tell the truth. I am drawn to be honest about my life and my experiences when I don't have to. Like, I don't have to fucking talk about any of this. I could live in the shadows too if I wanted, but I don't think that does any good. I think that we're in the situation that we are in worldwide because too much is happening in the shadows. And I'm obviously impassioned about this. So it's how we've got like all these toxic men out here coercing and bullying and controlling women because it is being kept in the shadows as much as possible. And it's usually kept in the shadows when it's happening. And I would know, dude, because I've been in there. I've been in the shadows. I've been cornered. I've been held in by many people. And I always claw my way out because I'm like, I'm not comfortable here. I don't want to be in the dark. Take me to the light. Take me to the truth. I can deal with pain and difficult bullshit, and I have a very high tolerance for pain, like life pain, physical pain, emergencies, and like I can handle things, but I need it to be the truth. I need to know what's going on. And when people are running amok, when there's fuckery going on and people are being dishonest, I get very confused and I don't know what's going on. How can I help? How can I be, I don't know. It's not even that I'm more comfortable in the light. It's that I feel like a fucking houseplant and I will die in the dark. It's not that I'm like, oh, I love all this pain. I just don't know any other way to be. Living a lie feels literally physically impossible to me. There's like things about me that I keep private and only my closest friends know. But I'm not a liar. Like, this is like what you see is what you get, you know? The life that I'm living is real. The job that I have is real. The friendships I have are real. My opinions are real. This is not a facade. But as I say all that, I think to myself, have I always felt like I could be in the light? Have I always felt like I could tell the truth? No, not at all. I don't know if I've ever felt like fully at peace with myself. That I'm still working on. I still have like crippling anxiety and I have a really difficult time just accepting me for who I am right now, because I'm constantly like, okay, I need to lose some weight, I need to like fix this, I need to get this, I need to get that. Once I do this, then I'll be this, then I'll feel this. Like, I map out my like, okay, everything I need to change, and then I turn it into a fucking hobby to fix myself. Like I'm a fucking vintage car. And I'm not. I'm a person that has human traits, and we all are. I guess what I have to explore is I'm a traumatized person and I have been very deeply hurt. I'm very sensitive too. So I think that plays a huge part in it. Is I was born very sensitive. Not everyone has this level of sensitivity to them. It's my personality. I am attuned to the world and what's going on. I find the news absolutely soul crushing and it upsets me for weeks when I find out about what's going on in the world. It's just too serious for me because I'm like, human lives? These are human lives, and we're just like putting them in these sweatshops. We're just like dumping them on the beach. We're just like, whatever's going on, I get very overwhelmed because I feel hypersensitive to the value of human life. Anyways, thinking about that, I have never, to my knowledge, assaulted anyone. I have never turned around and abused someone else out of my own pain and trauma. So when I see men doing that to me, I don't understand. Just because you had a fucked up life, bro, how can you put that on me? because I don't put it on you. I mean, I might do it. I think historically I did it by trying to get every single need that I have ever had met by one man. That would be my toxic trait, would be I was going into these relationships like, oh, you're going to make me feel complete. Perfect. Then I don't have to. uh, and then I would be really frustrated and upset when I didn't feel complete, because how can another person make me feel that way? But that's not the same as abusing and belittling and bullying and running someone into the ground, or sexually abusing and harassing them, or psychologically abusing and harassing them. It's not the same thing. So I definitely have my toxic traits that I bring with me when I go places. And I have to be hyper aware of working on them. But I have never turned around, and I've never cheated on anybody. I've never just like completely misled someone about who I am. I don't know. I have my own toxic traits. However, I have been working on them for over a decade. I'm on my like 5th therapist in 10 years or whatever. I've had multiple therapists over the years. I've pursued self-improvement like it was a fucking job. And I work really hard to have a positive impact on this world, not a negative one. And it's very, very hard for me to see people who are out there fucking up other people's lives, leaving a mess in their fucking path, burning all their bridges, and just being like, I'm just going to keep on going. Like, what are you fucking doing, bro? What are you doing? Get some help. Hard stop, pump the brakes. We need something's got to give. Like, that's kind of where I'm like circling back to. I know I'm long-winded, but something has got to give. Something's not working. My opinion is that all of the fucked up stuff in this world can be traced down to fucked up people traumatizing each other, and people having children when they shouldn't, when they're not ready, when they're not mature, when they don't know how to develop another person, because having a child is not buying a handbag. We are not an accessory. We're a human being, and we need development and support, and we need all of our needs met for the first 20 years of our fucking life by you, the parent. So I don't know, I feel very merciless about this. Because I'm like, why are you having kids? If that doesn't sound fun to you, then get a vasectomy, dude. What are you doing? We aren't, like, children are not an accessory. They are a human life that's going to be on this planet after you're gone, and every single life that they touch is going to be affected by whatever you fucking instilled in that person. It's a big deal. It's a big ass deal. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I feel like I sound really scary. This is the type of thinker that I am, and this is the type of feeler that I am. I feel these things very intensely. So, men behaving badly in our culture and abusing women can be traced down to bad parenting, bad friends, bad systems, religious systems, school systems, wherever the adults are that are supposed to be instilling good values in these young people, young men. Where the fuck are they? Who's doing the work? Who is teaching men what consent is and what that looks like? And who's teaching men the value of a woman? Where are they learning that information? Where are they learning that women are their equals? We are your peer. If you're lucky, you are on my level. I'm just saying. I think women can function on a very high level that I have not seen very many men do. If any men. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, where are they learning this information? The other thing I was reflecting on was my male friends, because I do have male friends. I have I tried to like run down the list of like guy friends that I actually keep in touch with. We talk on the phone, we text, we send emails and pictures. I have male friends that I have those type of friendships with. And one of them I've known since I was 11. One of them I've known since I was 16. That one introduced me to another one of these friends that he's known for a long time. So I guess for me, I'm able to have these friendships with men that have been a constant in my life for a long time, who have consistently shown year after year after year since we were kids or teenagers that they are a safe and trustworthy person. Now, I have not had romantic relationships with these men. I've never seen what they are like with a woman that they're trying to have a sexual relationship with. So that piece of those men, I don't know. I don't know how they talk to women. I don't know how they behave with women when they're alone in a room with them. I have come to learn that we really do not know what people are capable of, and we should never be shocked when someone that we've known and loved for a long time does something horrific, because we are all capable of it. Every single one of us is capable of being a monster at any moment. I'm just waiting for my opportunity. I told my therapist that if anyone ever tried to like assault me, like a stranger or anyone, I would take that as my opportunity to unleash the rage within me that I feel towards men and abusers and predators. And if you so much as fucking blink in my direction and I catch your look as if you're going to prey upon me, bro, the brass knuckles are coming out. I'm literally going to murder you. I don't know. I just like, I have issues. I think that I have the right. I'm just saying. I have the right to defend myself in that moment. And if that person catches these hands, that's not my fucking fault. Anyways, there was a guy that I knew who was hitting on my sister. A couple of guys actually that hit on my sister. I literally picked up the phone and called them and said, I will ruin your life if you don't stop immediately. If you don't stop harassing my little sister, I will literally ruin your life. Knock it off. And they stopped. It was just like flirting messages and stuff that was making my sister uncomfortable. And it wasn't reciprocated. So I don't know. Those are not the same friends I was talking about that I've had since childhood. These are different guys. So I have, in the past, when the opportunity presented itself, picked up the phone and said, I just saw a screenshot of a text message you sent a girl 8 years younger than you who happens to be my sister. The fuck are you doing, bro? I just think it has to be done like that. In the moment, we have to call people out. You need to pick up the phone and say something. And we have to like fix this cycle of, I was like thinking of the diagram this morning where I'm like, okay, if you see something, say something. How can you say something if you're afraid for your safety? And then like, what if you're being gaslit and lied to and they're not acknowledging what you're saying? Like, this cycle is very toxic. So I don't have the answers. Honestly, all I can do is like call it out when I fucking see it and not tolerate it. And that's what I think we all need to do, honestly. We need to stop traumatizing each other. We need to stop fucking our kids up and not doing anything about it. There needs to be repairs and healing. We need to talk about it. We need to bring shit into the light. Parents need to say, hey, I kind of fucked that up. I'm really sorry. How can we make it right? Dude, what I would give for my fucking dad to say that to me. I'll tell you guys about my dad. I call him my biological father. I don't know. He hasn't been in my life for a long time. My choice. And what I would give for him to say, I fucked that up. I fucked up your life. I was a terrible dad. I'm really sorry. How can we move forward? That will never happen for me, but I imagine how good that would feel. I don't think that our parents are supposed to be perfect. I think we could all agree on that. That is not at all what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for honesty and apologies and accountability and consequences for choices that people make. If you choose to neglect and abuse your children, the consequence should be that they're taken away from you. Like, I don't think that you should get to keep them and continue abusing them, and then you're just perpetuating more fucked up people being born into society. It's so insane. And then we end up like this, where everything's corrupt. Everything is corrupt. Politics are corrupt. Healthcare is corrupt. The government is all corrupt. The military is corrupt. Everything's fucked. Because you know why? All these fucked up people, most of them are narcissistic, abusive white men in high positions of power in the United States and elsewhere, leading this country and making executive decisions on behalf of the entire country. Politicians, big pharma, like, I would literally bet my life in all of those big boardrooms where big decisions are being made, it's white men who have fucking issues, who are traumatized, who are narcissistic or whatever the fuck, who have not dealt with their shit, and they're greedy and they're self-centered and they don't care. These fucking men that are abusing us on Bumble are the ones that are fucking up the country, dude. I would bet my life on it. I do not have any evidentiary proof, but I bet you that's the case. Because you know why they're not facing consequences in junior high? They're not facing consequences in high school. They're not facing consequences in college. They're not facing consequences on the online dating apps or on dates or in society or in the locker room or at work. And they're climbing the fucking ladder on the spines of women and the less fortunate. Can we all agree? Am I insane? I feel like I'm screaming into a fucking megaphone that there's a fire and everyone's just like drinking their tea. Like, what? What's up? What are you talking about? Fire who? This is a serious issue that's affecting my life. And I'm here to yell about it into my microphone. Because I don't know what else to do but talk about it and call it out and like bring it into the light and let other women share their stories with me, which means a lot, because then I don't feel like I'm fucking insane and alone either. We have to talk about it and be honest with each other. I literally cannot, I don't know a single woman. I do not know a single woman who has not been physically assaulted by a man against her will. Every single woman that I fucking know has had a man put their hands on her violently or sexually or aggressively, whatever way it was against her will. It's got to stop, dude. It has got to stop. So what do we do? What do we do? Like, what does it look like? We need to raise these guys better. We also need resources. We need openness. We need communication. We need places for men to talk and dialogue with each other and have healthy adults developing them and shaping their thoughts and their behaviors. We need safe places for men to ask questions and say, hey, I feel like committing a sex crime. Is that okay? And then someone should stand up and say, absolutely not. Don't you fucking put your hands on her. You are wrong. Like, what's going on in this world? I don't understand. Like, who's holding people accountable? Because what I have experienced is that tension of discomfort, because the victim cannot be the one to hold the perpetrator to the fire. As the person who's been the victim multiple times, I was scared shitless. I was frozen. You go into fight or flight. You go into self-preservation. You're like, okay, just get the fuck out of here as safe as possible. It's about getting out without getting killed. So I can't be like, why don't we just sit down and chat really quick? I think you need to learn about like consent and like body language. And when I pushed you away 3 times and said I wasn't comfortable, that should have been your clue. Like, it's not, I can't. In the moment when I'm being abused and I don't feel safe, I cannot be the one that turns into an educator. I need to be able to hand this asshole a business card. Hey, call this place. They'll fucking explain it to you. Get the fuck out of my apartment. Get out of my car. I'm blocking your number or whatever. I don't know. Something has to give. I feel like I'm screaming into the abyss and I'm just laughing at myself because I'm like, what are you even like? What's the solution? We're going to have another blue ball episode because I don't have any answers. I just have complaints and truths and points to make. I don't know, dude. I think of like the story I alluded to in the last episode. There was one where this guy was like trying to take my clothes off after I literally said, no, I don't want to have sex with you. I'm wearing pants and a sweater. Do not get the wrong idea, dude. I literally have to spell it out. Men do not, like, nuance doesn't work. So I always say it directly. I'm not fucking you. Okay? Are we clear? I will say it to their face. No shit, dude. And I said it to this guy. I'm not in the mood. I literally just, like, it was years ago. I was not in a good place. And I said that. And I said, I'm not in a good place right now. I'm not even in the mood. I don't want to have sex, but we can cuddle. And it was like one of those situations. And then he took his clothes off when I said that. When I turned my back, immediately after saying, I don't want to have sex, but I'll cuddle with you, he took all his clothes off. And then he proceeded to try to take my clothes off. And I said, was I, like, not clear? Do you, like, can you just take the cuddling and call it good, bro? Or is that not, like, you feel like you're entitled to more? Obviously, that's not how the conversation went. He made me feel super uncomfortable. I felt like this dude was 6'4", rock climber's body. Like, I'm like, okay, well, he could definitely break my neck, so I better be careful. Because you don't know. When you're a woman who's being domineered by a man, like I said, we don't know what people are capable of. So I have literally been scared for my life because I'm like, oh, I don't know this guy well enough. If I really upset him, what's he going to do to me? Because it's not that difficult to put a triangle chokehold around a woman's neck and silently kill her, okay? It's a real threat that I have been concerned about more than a dozen times. And this was one of them where I felt terrified to stand up to this 6-foot-something guy, even though I already was like, I'm not fucking you, bro. And he didn't take that for an answer. He's pushing me, and I'm saying no. And he's like literally trying to help himself like I'm a buffet. And I'm saying no, I'm pushing him off. And I was terrified. And it was like a 2-hour thing of me being like, you need to stop. You need to go. Please stop. I don't want to have sex with you. I didn't have sex with him. I refuse. So he literally masturbated in front of me because I wouldn't have sex with him. Yeah. I'll give you a minute with that one. Just take that in. Think about that. I said no. He was trying to be flirty. He was trying to be cute. Oh, let me just do this. Let me just touch you here. Let's just do this. Very coercive. And I kept saying, no, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested. I held my line. Didn't even kiss the fucking guy. And he couldn't take no for an answer. So his solution was to just put his hard dick to use. What am I going to do? Not fuck something? I'll just fuck myself. Go ahead, dude. So I had to literally sit there. And he didn't say what he was doing. I was just like, what's this motion? And I look over and he's fucking jerking off. In my presence, without my consent, I might add. I was speechless, dude. Speechless. God, I can't believe that. That was a long time ago. That was like, I don't know how long ago that was, but it was years ago. And it happened, and I didn't, like, I was shooketh, dude. I was sick, like, the whole next day. I was disturbed. I kicked him out. It had been, like, a house party situation, I think. His phone was dead. He didn't have a charger. He didn't have a wallet. He didn't have money. I was like, get the fuck out of here. He was like, I don't know how. I don't know how to get home. I don't have a phone. I don't have a wallet. And I was like, I will call your ass a lift. Get out. I don't ever want to see you again. And then that was it. I had to pay for his lift to get home after he did that to me. This is the ignorance. This is the audacity. This is what we're dealing with. I feel like if people are listening and they're like, wow, I have never, I can't imagine. Well, then you are privileged, dude. Because this is so common. It's disgusting. That guy is just a drop in the bucket. God, no pun intended. He put a drop in the bucket, and he is a drop in the bucket. I don't know. That's just one example. This happens a lot. And I would argue that this type of toxicity even exists in serious long-term relationships and marriages. I would bet my life that there are many, many husbands bullying and pressuring and coercing their wives into things they don't feel comfortable with. Yeah, I believe that is a fact. And I don't know, dude, it's a problem. It's a problem. I know like men that are just in my life or in the lives of my friends. And I'm like, that guy's like a really genuinely nice guy. He like doesn't fucking know what he's doing. He does not realize that his behavior is bad and toxic. I've seen that side of it where I'm like, he like literally doesn't realize that that's abuse. So that's where I am like, not all of it is conscious. Like that guy that I kicked out of my house, I was like living with people. There were other people there. He didn't see anything wrong with it. He was like, thanks for a great time. Like, see you later. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? You think that was acceptable? I think I saw him like years later at another party, and I acted like I'd never seen him before in my life. I completely ignored him because I don't know. I didn't know what to do. It's like everyone thought he was so great and charming, and he thought that interaction was normal. And I am literally almost a decade later, like still thinking about it. And the disrespect, like it just gets added layer after layer after layer of men disrespecting you and fucking up your life. And how are you not supposed to be angry? You know? I don't know. I'm like a female incel. I'm not an incel. I can get laid anytime I want. So suck on that. Anyways, I don't know, dude. I see it. I can see it happening. It's like this undercurrent. Sometimes you can see it and sometimes you can't. There's a fucking motion in the ocean, and it's not the good kind. It's the non-consensual kind. We have to do something. We have to be better parents. We got to raise these kids better. We need to be more honest in schools and tell people how this shit works. We need to talk openly about sex and relationships and consent and dating and interacting with the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever you're fucking into. I don't have a problem with it. We just need to talk about it honestly. And we need to say, like, I'm of the opinion that if you want to put your lips on my lips, you need to ask me if I'm okay with that. Or we need to dialogue about it in some fashion and agree and consent to having a physical connection, because this is my body, okay? Just because you bought me 2 drinks at the bar, it's not a ticket for admission, okay? You don't then get to kiss me on the mouth. Well, I bought her 2 drinks. Okay, well, I put blue dye in my hair. And? Get the fuck out of here. No connection. There's no connection, bro. Just because you bought me 2 drinks does not mean anything. It means you bought me 2 drinks because you asked me here. You invited me to drinks and said, let me buy you drinks. That's it for me. That's all it is for me. I'll let you know if I want you to come home with me, if I want to do more, if I want to get naked, I'll tell you. But I don't know. I feel like men really don't get it. Most of them don't. Some of them are abusing us on purpose. Some of them are actual predators who are sociopathic or psychopathic. and they get off. They get pleasure and joy. I was married to someone like that who literally got pleasure from making me absolutely miserable. He felt powerful when he made me cry. He felt powerful when he controlled my choices and controlled my social life. It gave him a sense of power, and he was doing it on purpose. So I've experienced that, and I've also experienced the ignorant idiots who are like, oh, I didn't know that this was bad. I thought I was just allowed to do whatever I wanted with you. I had no clue. Assholes. Dickheads. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to do with men. I don't know what to do with humans. I don't know what to do with people. I don't know how to live on this earth. I'm literally just day to day like, okay, I guess I have to deal with these people again. I went to the grocery store today and I had like a full basket of stuff. I don't care if I have 80 items. I'm going to the self-checkout. I don't need a cashier to be like, oh my God, how's your day? Don't talk to me, Brenda. Okay? I'm just here to get my cold brew and my chicken breast and my fucking peanut M&Ms. Leave me alone. I definitely feel like I avoid people a lot because, one, I'm hypersensitive and everything upsets me. And two, I just think people are insane and hurtful. And I'm not interested. I keep my circles very, very small for this reason exactly. And I don't know. What was I saying earlier about like, oh yeah, I've never assaulted anyone, literally. I racked my brain because I was like calling out Noah Gunderson in the last episode for like trying to put himself in the spotlight when he had done egregious things. And maybe he didn't think that was egregious. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe he truly didn't find that to be non-consensual. But guess what? The victim gets to decide. The victim gets to decide. Now, her position, like talking about the Noah Gunderson situation, her position was that she said no. And then she said no. And then she said, I'm a virgin, or whatever the order was. She posted her story on Instagram publicly. So that's where I got my information, was her, directly from her talking about it. And she was like, he's not a monster. She spurred this whole thing in me, actually, because she was the one that said, her name's Kelly. And she was like, we need to talk about this in our culture. Like, this is an actual problem. I don't think Noah is a monster, and I don't think this is exclusive to him. I think men in our society think that they have a right to do what they want with us. And I agree with that. I do. I think the default state is that women are here for you. Guess what? We don't need you. We don't need you, and we're starting not to like you. Men, that's who I'm talking to. I could get a sperm donor. I could buy my own house. I can have my own career. I can have my own bank account. I can save all my own money. I don't need you. I do not need a man. They are a luxury in theory. I mean, I haven't met a man who's a luxury, but technically, like when I think of like my budget spreadsheet, there's like variable and fixed. You're a variable expense, my guy. You are not a fixed expense. You're not my rent. Like, I don't need you for safety and a roof over my head. I don't need a man to have a child or money or rights or property or anything. Men, really, I honestly think you guys should be quaking in your fucking boots, dude. Because we have reached a point in society where we're in a bottleneck. We're going to choke you out. I am here to choke out the bad behavior. I'm not going to just sit on my fucking bench in front of my beautiful house in my dreams and watch all this happen silently. I'm going to put your ass in a triangle chokehold, and I'm going to choke out all that toxic behavior, okay? Since men love, like, physical violence. I'm totally joking. I don't know how to do a chokehold on a person. Never even tried it, so I'm not actually going to do that. Yeah, I think we need to be teaching boys differently. We need to be raising our kids differently. We need to teach women that young girls should learn that their voice and their comfort matters, and that their physical boundaries for what makes them feel safe in their body is up to them. Did I say that loud enough? What makes me feel safe in my body is up to me to decide. And what makes a young woman comfortable in her body is up to her. It doesn't always have to look the same. I don't think that it's for anyone else to decide what boundaries a young woman should have with herself. It is for her. I think if she's a little girl, there should be healthy adults teaching her what healthy boundaries look like. I don't think a little girl should be running around like, I can run with scissors and knives because I'm fine. Like, they need some fucking guidance, obviously. But as an adult in my 30s, you don't get to tell me what's okay for me as far as boundaries. I get to decide. For example, I don't fuck with one night stands. I don't do Tinder. I've never had Tinder. I don't do casual sex because that is not comfortable for me. If you want to do casual sex and be on Tinder, go for it. I literally do not care, because what you are comfortable with your body is up to you. I'm not comfortable getting on Tinder and hooking up with a bunch of people every weekend. It's not my style. I'm not comfortable. It makes me feel really weird. I can't sleep. I'm just saying, we can't tell little girls, go hug Uncle What's-His-Face. I don't care if you're uncomfortable. Teach her from day one that she gets to decide who she pushes her body up against. Okay? To me, it's serious. It's serious. This was actually something I tried to say to that last date that I had 6 or 9 months ago or whatever, when he was getting really aggressive and pushing me and trying to coerce me into sex. And I said, hey, dude, hey, we haven't even had a conversation about this. We haven't talked about birth control. We haven't talked about STDs. We haven't talked about what we like or don't like. We literally don't know anything about each other. And I said, sex is super intimate. You want me to take off all of my clothing and invite your body to come inside my body, which in my opinion is extremely intimate. To invite another body into your body is a big deal to me. So this is what I'm saying to him. And I said, I'm not there yet. I don't know you. And we haven't had the important conversations. Of course, he tried to, well, what do you like? Like, he tried to turn it like sexy. And I was like, not this. I do not like this. And I was like, I think we need to like stop the evening. You should probably go. I'm not like feeling it. And it was a snooze. Wah, wah, wah. And I didn't care. Go be like, he obviously isn't self-aware enough to like be just like uncomfortable. He wanted to see me again. At least that's what his text message said. And like I said before, I said the next day that I wasn't interested. And I didn't like spell it out in the text message because I didn't think it mattered. I had already said it to his face the night before, why I wasn't comfortable having sex and what it meant to me. And that's all I can do. Like, I just was like, I'm not comfortable with this pace. This is why. Of course, he kept on pushing. And what am I supposed to do? Call a therapist on his behalf and book him an appointment? I don't know what to do with these fucking idiots, dude. The only thing I have figured out is to avoid them. And like block their number. If I get tired of people, I just block their number. Or if I'm afraid they're going to harass me, I block their number. I block people on Instagram. I don't care. If you're going to fuck with my vibe, I'm blocking you. I'm sorry to be harsh, but I don't have time and energy for this. So I immediately blocked him after he was like, oh, bummer. Because he didn't care. He didn't care about me as a person. The dude just wanted to get his dick wet, and he didn't find it at my place. So I don't know what to do with these guys personally. I just have thoughts. I think that our culture has to change. I think that parenting has to change. I think that we need to have a fucking revamp of how people behave in this world, because this is not going away. It's going to continue. It's been like this for generations, if not all of humankind. Men have been in control. They've been doing whatever they want. They've been behaving like animals. It's part evolutionary. It's part cultural. It's part upbringing. It's a lot people looking the other way and just being quiet. And men are going to continue to do this. It's not going to stop. So, you could fall down and break your fucking leg in half and just say, I'm just not going to look at it. It won't heal. Your leg's not going to heal. Just because you're not going to look at it doesn't mean it's not there. We have to look at these things and we have to heal them, because just because we're not looking doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because it hasn't personally affected your life doesn't mean it's not out here fucking up a bunch of other people's lives. Okay? Let me be the voice. Let me be the victim's voice, because I think they need a voice. The predators have had the fucking megaphone long enough. I'm done. No more. I will literally, I have so much peace in my life right now that I was like, if I die in this place alone with these things and what I have right now, I'm totally fine with that. I really am okay with that. I feel like I can be myself. I feel safe. I feel like I'm learning to understand myself. I have really rich friendships. I have a great connection with my family right now. Things are in a good place. I like, for the most part, things are good. And I do not feel any absence of a man. I just don't. And to me, that's a big indicator, of my own growth and healing, because I did not historically feel that way. I truly believed, because it was what I was taught, that my purpose in life was to be the other half of a man, to be a wife, a caretaker, a homemaker, a mother, to make bread and sweep the floor and wear an apron and put the pillows on the couch, get everything fluffed. I was told that that was the only option for me. And I'm here to say that it's not. And I chose the opposite, and it's been fucking cool as fuck. I literally do whatever I want, whenever I want to. No man has any say in my life whatsoever. My boss is a woman. My best friends are women. No man is telling me what to do right now. And it feels like chef's kiss, exactly what I wanted. I don't know. Maybe I'm a lost cause, but that's okay. I think I'm a badass bitch, honestly. And I think I'm a really good girlfriend. I'll tell you, I was thinking about this on my hike today too. Thinking what does my ideal relationship look like? Because my history is a smattering of really toxic situations. I don't have any frame of reference for a healthy, committed, loving relationship. I have only known torture and pain. I'm laughing because I wasn't actually tortured. It just felt like that. I have only known dysfunction and pain and bad situations. So I often will daydream and imagine, what does the healthy relationship of my dreams look like? Here's what I came up with this morning when I was thinking about it. I really want someone who will wake up with me early in the morning and put our coffee in some hot mugs and hop in the car with the dogs, go take a walk and watch the sunrise and drink our coffee and feel at peace with each other, not feel like we have to talk about anything if we don't want to, or talk about how we're feeling that day or what dreams we had the night before, and just be low key. Just take a walk with the dogs, watch the sun come up, and drink our hot coffee. God, that sounds so fucking perfect. I want someone who says, hey, what should we have for dinner tonight? let's start the oven, and like we'll cook dinner with me and we'll stand in the kitchen together and we have respect and harmony, and no one's raising their voice, no one's getting frustrated, no one's slamming silverware or drawers around. The man's not sitting on the couch watching the basketball game asking me when dinner's going to be ready. He's in the kitchen with me as a partner, carrying his half of the fucking relationship. And I want a partner who, if he's been traumatized or wounded, what work have you done to heal that and overcome that? And what job do you have? And how do you feel about your job? Why did you choose that job? What do you get from that job? What type of fulfillment are you feeling? Like, I want to know, how do you feel about your family dynamics? I don't care if your, parents are divorced or your family's fucked up. How do you feel about your family dynamics? How have you protected yourself from toxic people, even if that means it's your family? Or maybe maybe he has a great relationship with his family. That would be fucking awesome if he has a great family. I need that. I need that positive influence and example. I want a man who never raises his voice to yell at me. I want a man who never calls me a name. Every single man that I've ever had a relationship with has called me names and screamed at me. Every single person that I have had a significant relationship with has screamed at me and called me names, because aggression is acceptable in the world of men. Talking to women like that in an intimate relationship has been acceptable to them for some reason, because no one's calling them out. Women need to walk away, but men need to be fucking exposed. They really do. I don't know. I would love to have a partner who doesn't criticize every fucking thing that I do. Someone who gives me my space and my autonomy, who doesn't feel like they need to do everything together, that we can have our own lives and our own hobbies, and that what we're doing as individuals is not a reflection of each other, because we're autonomous individual humans. And what he's doing is about him and what I'm doing is about me. That would be great. I've never had that. It's always been this toxic, like, well, you can't wear that because then people are going to think this about me. I'm like, what? This is my fucking outfit, bro. This is a reflection of me. I will do what I want with my hair and tattoos and clothes and whatever and friends. And I want to be able to exist as I am without being a threat or without being a reflection on him. I want to be free to be me. And I want the same for my partner. I want a partner who is himself and has his own life, who I don't have to be the best friend and the mom and the caretaker and the lover and the cook and the cleaner. I don't want that. I want someone who has their own life, who has their own friendships, who has their own job, who's fully self-sustaining without me, and that we just complement each other's lives. And that we have a lot of things in common, but not everything in common. I don't think that's necessary. I want to know, how does he respond when he doesn't get his way? How does he respond when someone hurts him and there's no healing and justice there? What do you do with that? I can answer those questions for myself. I can tell you what I've done in those scenarios. Anyways, my dog is tired of me podcasting and he's throwing all his bones in a pile next to my desk. So that's my sign. I need to go pay attention to my pets and give the only man in my life some attention. Huh, Odin? That's a good boy. All right, guys. Thanks for riding this train with me. I'll be back next time to yell at you. No, not yell at you. Yell into the abyss about the things I feel strongly about. And I'm an advocate for women and for victims. And this is a safe place for you. This is a place where we challenge men. Okay? I'm here to make it a safe place for women and a challenging place for men. That sounds like a great way to end this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I'll catch you next time. Later.